So is Donald Trump preparing to declare martial law? And is there a possibility of a civil war in the United States? That's the subject of today's video. I was hoping not to have to make this kind of video, but unfortunately, recent events are really spiraling out of control very quickly. These are the headlines coming out from LA. Chaos erupts near Paramount and Home Depot as protesters confront immigration agents. And I've seen several videos floating around. You might have also. The situation is getting really bad. I used to live in LA, so for me, this is home for me. So I really do see what's happening. I know exactly where these things are happening. And it is unfortunately getting worse and worse. These are more headlines that I just want to go through, show you guys some pictures, and we'll talk about what's happening. Immigration agents clash again with protesters in Los Angeles County. As federal agents carried out more workplace raids, they squared off with protesters using what appeared to be tear gas and flashbang grenades. And you're seeing a lot of these images, basically these agents in full tactical gear. There's a lot of civilians involved. There's a lot of family members involved. It's just spiraling out of control. This is just Saturday, so just yesterday. ICE raids across LA, so who knows how many exactly. It could be all over the place. Sparked backlash. Trump officials vowed to continue operations, and now you have the mayor of LA opposing this. This is a statement that just came out from Mayor Karen Bass. She says, "This morning, we received reports of federal immigration enforcement actions in multiple locations in Los Angeles. As mayor of a proud city of immigrants who contribute to our city in so many ways, I am deeply angered by what has taken place. These tactics sow terror in our communities and disrupt basic principles of safety in our city. My office is in close coordination with immigrant right community organizations. We will not stand for this," Mayor Karen Bass. It is escalating, as just came out just minutes ago from Attorney General Pamela Bondi. This is what she writes. "It doesn't matter if you're a judge, a member of Congress, or a protester in Los Angeles. If you obstruct or assault a law enforcement officer, this Department of Justice will prosecute you." And what I'm showing you guys here, both these things in back to back, is, would Bondi go after then, the mayor of Los Angeles, the governor of California, start going after, the opposition party effectively, right, arresting? I think that is in the realm of possibility, on top of arresting just regular citizens and non-citizens without due process. And that's the key, without due process, meaning just making up with whatever charges, or not even revealing charges, which is something they've been doing for the last, since Trump came into office, right? I'll say the last few months, but really since Trump came into office. This is the major, major problem, right? Without due process, they just go in and just basically, arrest first, shoot first, ask questions later, these kind of things. And then oftentimes people will get detained. You don't even know what the charges are. It is a very serious situation here. And now we're talking about arresting possible, judges, members of Congress, protesters in LA. And they can just, the Trump DOJ can just make up anything that they want. This is Stephen Miller, who's also sort of, one of Trump's lackeys. An insurrection against laws and sovereignty of the United States. That's how they're framing this. And I'm showing you, multiple viewpoints on this stuff, because oftentimes people just want the truth, right? And I completely understand that. So that's why I try to show you more than one thing, where, many outlets out there will just show you one side. I think it's important to look at what everyone is saying. I'll just say this, it's going to get really ugly because many families are involved. And if you've ever been to LA, you'll know there's all kinds of people with all kinds of stories, right? All kinds of people with all kinds of stories. We're also talking about a vital state, this is California, to the function and operation of the USA. And what would happen if California just decides to just all out revolt? This is Gavin Newsom, the governor of California, what he writes. Californians pay the bills for the federal government. We pay over $80 billion more in taxes than we get back. Maybe it's time to cut that off. And that's directed at Trump. So effectively, if Trump is, looking to cut off, services, start arresting people without due process in California, California's like, well, fine, we're just not going to send you any tax dollars. I mean, this is where you get major divisions in USA, and that's why I talked about civil war. I don't talk about it all the time on this channel. It's not something I want to talk about, but you can't ignore it. And what the Trump people are going to do, and they just started doing it. You can kind of already see their playbook. They're like, guys, just remember, World War II. Just think about all the nationalism and flag waving of World War II, right? So follow us. And World War II, that's literally what she's tweeting about. This is on June 17th here. Today, we reminded the courageous American heroes, and this whole situation is erupting violently. This is just overnight, and the amount of images that are coming out and video is frankly really disturbing. This is one of the right-wing people you'll see on YouTube. This person received money from Russia to promote sort of basically divisions within the USA. That's why I don't like to talk about Civil War stuff too much, because I don't want to like stoke the flames of division. I prefer that we don't do that. But I can't ignore the things that are happening. So this is Benny Johnson, again, one of the right-wingers. So he'll say, a deranged leftist tried to block an ICE vehicle carrying criminal aliens and got run over after refusing to move, right? So the image and the video, if you want to watch it, shows someone trying to block the car. You're gonna see all kinds of situations, right? And I don't, want to paint any one side or any group as being all of one thing, because there's so many different stories and people involved with this stuff. I don't know the story of the person in front of the car. What if, for example, you're a father and one of your kids is taken, or what example, or you're a son and your father's taken, like any number of things. You don't know people's situations. You don't know. What if you're just people out there who just want to cause chaos? Because we do have those kind of people in USA as well. There's not everyone is acting in the country's best interest. I'm saying this is very real. Then you have people in full riot gear. You can see this is coming out of LA. These are the images. Again, I used to live here. So it's disturbing for me to see this stuff happening. These are my friends. These are my neighbors. This is going on right now. And, you're going to see people take to the streets to oppose these things, right? So these are some of the signs coming out. People demand stop the deportations. We are California. Come for one of us. Come for all of us. And it could get ugly really quickly. I want things to be as peaceful as possible, as lawful as possible, but we are talking about the Trump administration, who again constantly attacks judges, ignores the Constitution, and what other sort of resort do people have? And that's sort of why you're seeing this protests and things happening. And on top of that, you have the high profile cases, which I mentioned before, and I'm talking about it again. With Abrego Garcia, right? So now he was taken, he was one who's illegally arrested, sent off to El Salvador. This is just one of many people treated this way, unfortunately. And I don't want to get focused on just one case, because I think, again, that these multiple situations happening. Like there's so many of these illegal arrests happening that it's hard to cover all of it all of the time. Plus, it's deeply disturbing, and now it's turning violent. That's why I'm really concerned about what Trump's going to do next. If you don't know, I'm here in South Korea, and we just had our president declare a legal martial law. The president was ultimately, this President Yoon, was ultimately impeached and now faces criminal charges. I think the trial on the criminal stuff starts in August. We just had an election. The opposition party to Yoon did win, so not everyone was on board with the martial law stuff. But in USA, it's a whole other thing. Because you have, your Elon Musk, who's now getting divorced with Trump. Trump is now in this crazy tailspin. The economy is looking pretty weak, as I've talked about before on the channel. And you have a situation to where they have this backing of Fox News and other, social media people on the right that are, going to be instigating violence, misinformation, these kind of things. It is an ugly situation out there. And, this is another story that this is all just in the last couple of days. Massachusetts high schooler detained by ICE on way to volleyball practice speaks out following release. Um, I also just want to make this personal because it is personal. If you don't know my story, I came to the USA as an infant from Vietnam at the end of the war. I did not choose to grow up in USA. I did not choose to live in USA. That choice was made for me by the U.S. military. It's a very, very complicated story, and my story is just one of many stories like that out there where a lot of children they don't choose who their parents are. They can't choose where they grow up, right? And like in this situation where, there's a guy in high school, he gets arrested by ICE. It's like going to volleyball practice. Like how crazy that is. I think he was, admitted to college, these kind of things, and hadn't broken any laws, is no threat to society, these kind of stuff. But these are the kind of people that are going to be attacked. Again, it's going to be your neighbors, your friends, your family, etc. And I worry this whole situation is spiraling out of control very, very quickly. If Trump does declare the martial law, I think this will get very, very ugly. So that's what I'm watching for. I'll try to keep you guys updated best I can. I want to talk about multiple things, not just this particular issue, but I can't ignore this thing. And again, it's personal to me because we're talking about a city I used to live in, and many people were in the same situation as myself. I was not a citizen of the USA until much later in my life. The U.S. immigration system is highly convoluted, and again, you don't know everyone's situation. You don't know, and especially too with the Trump people, where they purposely ignore people's situations and ignore due process. So that's the stuff that I'm focused on. I do appreciate your time, everyone. I hope you are safe, and I'll catch you on the next video.